Hi, my name's Stephen Hand from Archery Supplies, and today we're going to look at the top of the line target recurve risers from Hoyt, Win and Fivics, because I figured they're the three big companies. There are other companies, but these are the three big ones and similarly priced. So I want to look at the difference and just look at them, basically. So this is the Win. This is the ATF-DX Deluxe. It has a dampening system here. This reduces the vibration. So it's like Matthews, they've got little dampeners, rubbers with weights, absorb some of the vibration. They have a bolt-on plate here. I think they have different plates. So they have a goodies bag. And it's all sealed, and I'm not going to open it. I thought they had different plates here to move this up and down. So you can move the arrow rest up and down a little bit. I don't know if that's a good idea, and I'll explain probably why I don't know if it's a good idea or not. First off, I don't mind this system. I don't mind it. It's fine because people will strip out their normal risers. How often do people strip out their normal risers? Not that often, but it's a feature. The normal little clicker plate, which goes on here, this is just a rubber cap. So your normal clicker plate will go on here, right? The reason I don't know if this is a good idea or not, because once you stick your $50 arrow rest on, it's stuck. So I'm like, well, isn't that done? Anyway, so it comes in a straight color. It comes in two colors, a red black, which is this one, and a gold black. Price on this, and I'm talking Australian dollars. Of course, I've lost it. It was $1,100 and $1,235 for this riser. The Fivics Skadi. Now, Fivics produce a whole bunch of risers, and which ones they use is kind of... which one the top archers use is a bit variable, but Skadi is fairly common. It has a weight system down here of tungsten weights. It has a plate that bolts on here that allows you to move your arrow rest forward or back. The reasoning for that is moving the plunger forward or back changes your tune, your spine. Now again, with the plates that clip on, you need to buy another arrow rest, so you're up for $50, but it does allow you to tune, but you'd have to buy 3 arrow rests, so $150 to try the different plates out. I would say of all the people who've got Skadis, and I've sold heaps of Skadis, I don't know anyone who's actually tried the tuning. And they may have tried the tuning and may not have told me, but the difference on this plate system here is the plate comes out the front, so instead of bolting onto the front of the riser, it's part of the plate, which is where the clicker is. Okay? $1,340. Now this is the Hoyt GMX. Hoyt do two types of risers, the international fitting limbs and the formula limbs. This is the international fitting limbs. They have a dampener built in here, so a bit like the Win dampener, but it's built into limb pockets. They've got a little system here on the limb pockets, little counting screws, so when you're winding your limb tiller in and out. See, Win don't have that. And Fivics don't have that. I think they should. Because I think when you're winding your limbs in and out, and I'm not encouraging you to wind your limbs in and out. I have so many people strip their bows, winding their limbs in and out. I'm like, why are you doing this? First off, most people are not good enough archers. That's not me having a go at them. You can't feel the difference between 2 pounds on a bow. You just can't. So winding the limbs in and out, you're going to get about 2 pounds of adjustment. I did it when I was going through heart surgery to try and save on one set of limbs. But I would just like buy another set of limbs because that way you know what you're doing with your tune. winding it up and down 2 pounds, you're not going to feel, for example, at the moment I'm shooting 51 pounds and I'm shooting 46 pounds. It's hard for me to feel the difference, it really is. I'm trying to see if I can shoot different scores between 51 and 46. I don't, I shoot exactly the same. So the Hoyt system here, now unlike your Fivics system, the Hoyt system moves up or down. So like the win and win system, it's got a clicker plate that goes on the front. Comes in a little bag. So it comes with 3 plates like the Fivics. So it's like the Fivics, but with the Fivics you move backwards and forwards. With the Hoyt I think you move up or down. The reasoning, I'm just going back why they do this, is for people who want to shoot different thickness of arrows. So if you want to shoot fats for indoor and you want to shoot skinnies for outdoor, you've got the different plates to enable you to do that. I don't know. How many people shoot fats for indoor? And people are going to say a lot. Look, there's not that many. Because it's very hard to get your bow set up. It's very hard to get your bow tuned. And for shooting fats for indoors, let's say with feathers, it's another level of complexity, and most people wouldn't see the difference between fats and skinnies on scores. And people are going to say, yes, I do. Well, at the World Championships in Vegas and stuff, there's enough people winning recurve with skinnies that I would say there's nothing in it, and you're probably not good enough. And I'm going to go back to this again and again. People who shoot 260s, you go, I can buy 2 points. You can buy yourself 5 points by practicing more. That's simple. You can buy yourself 10 points by shooting every day. So anyway, that's what it is. Now, the thing for me between different risers, you can talk about, I think this is a Cerakote finish, and I think these are both anodized. Now, I'm going to talk a bit about the anodizing. Black is good. It doesn't really fade, it stays black, okay? With red in your Fivics, it will go pink. With red with your win and win, it's generally pretty good. It will stay pretty red, right? So, but red is subject to fading. Green is subject to fading. Blue will fade a little bit, but you probably won't notice it. But you will notice the green fade and you'll notice the red fade, especially in Fivics. Fivics do paint and they do anodized. Same cost. The problem with the paint is you'll chip it, but obviously won't fade. Right. The big things I want to talk about, the weight's going to be the same on basically most of the risers. These little limb pockets here, why they do it, I don't know, but I'll try and zoom out. I don't know why Win and Win did that. My gut feeling is when you dry fire your bow and the string snaps, you break these. You just do. So I'm feeling it's a thing to reduce the damage inside the limb pocket. I don't know if that's the case or not. You'll see Fivics do not have it inside their limb pocket. It's just straight steel. And with Hoyt, they have brass. Right, now the next thing I want to talk about, with Hoyt it has this little thing here, these little pivot points there which bolt on. Hopefully I can zoom in. There. You move these in and out to change the feel of the bow. I don't know if that's a thing, but I understand why you do it, right? So I think moving it out makes it basically increases the poundage, moving in decreases the poundage. Fivics don't do it. Win and Win don't do it. I think it's a patent. Okay, so that's why they have it. Right, so Fivics, the things I want to talk about here. This here is rounded. The reason they round it is because when your limbs sit here, this is the pressure. So there's pressure pushing this way and there's pressure on this thing pushing that way, okay? There's no pressure on that point to push out this way because the pressure is pushing in towards the bone. So it's rounded here. The reason they round is so it doesn't, so the limbs don't get marked. Okay, that's why they do it. With the win and win limb, you'll see you've got a little edge here, and then you've got the pocket inside. This is a little bit raised. So my feeling is your limbs won't sit on this part of the riser here, unless you really wind out these limb bolts. But it's not rounded. Look, I think it's probably going to be okay. You're not probably going to get much marking on the limbs with that. Now with this, you'll see it's quite square. So I'm going to guess with the Hoyts, you leave comments if you've got a Hoyt, or you've got a Fivics, or you've got a win and win. I'm going to guess with the Hoyt you're going to see some marking on your limbs with the Hoyt limb bolt. That's not going to encourage you to buy or not buy one of these bows. Clickers, where the clickers goes, you have 2 spots on your thing. Sights, just the 2. The win and win, 1 clicker, 2 sight positions at the back, 2 and 1 sight position. So what I'm seeing here is a lot of similarities between the risers. They're all machined, they're all good. So I'm like, well, which one's better? Which one looks better? Looks are going to count for what people buy, and that's probably not what you're going to want to hear. But it's just the way it is. People will buy which one they think is prettiest. Okay. Now, for me, I've tried pretty much every recurve riser on the market. I haven't shot the Hoyt. But I've shot pretty much every recurve riser on the planet. The thing which is big for me is grip. It's big for me in compounds, getting my hand in the same spot. With the Fivics riser was the first riser where it had this style of riser, this high grip. You can see it's quite defined here, and it puts my hand up at quite an angle, like that. I found I got consistency with it. I found I got consistency, my scores improved, okay? Now with the win and win grip, one of the issues with win and win is every bow you buy, and when I say every bow, every different model win and win generally has a different grip. So it made it a nightmare for me swapping from one win and win to another win and win, because I went through a whole bunch of win and wins, I shot them all. It made it very hard for me because the grips were different, so then I've got to get used to the grip, and that takes, it might take a month, it might take 2 months. Now this grip, I'm going to put them up. This grip on the win and win feels very similar to the Fivics grip. I'm going to put them up. So you can see the angle is almost identical. Look, it is identical, okay? The bit I find which is a little bit different is the Fivics jut out here a little bit more. So my thumb seems to be, so there's the thumb on the win and win, the thumb on the Fivics. You can see the thumb on the Fivics seems, this line here is more pronounced. You can see here on the win and win, it's not as pronounced. So when my thumb fits into the Fivics, it's more pronounced. So to me it feels more, I'm not going to say more comfortable, more repeatable. Right, this is the Hoyt grip. Hoyt has had a whole bunch of different grips over the time, and I haven't shot Hoyt risers for a number of years, so I can't tell you about them, but I'm going to guess they haven't changed a lot. Hoyt grip, Fivics grip. You can see they're pretty much identical. So moving from the Fivics to the Hoyt, it's going to be the same. The where your thumb goes, you can see a distinctive line. The Hoyt grip to me feels almost identical to the Fivics grip. It feels a little bit fatter, and when I say a little bit fatter, just a smidge. Just feels a little bit, this line on the edge here feels more pronounced than this, so feels a little bit more rounded here. But for all sakes, the Fivics and the Hoyt grips to me feel so similar, I'd be struggling to tell them apart. So that's my summary of the bows. So I do like the fact of the tuning where you can move the plunger forward or back. I think that's a thing. I don't know if I would use it because there's so much going on with recurve that your arrow spine, your brace height, your plunger tension. Am I going to move this backwards and forwards? I'm not. I'm either going to... So for me with recurve, I have different spined arrows and I shoot the different arrows and I work out which ones tune the best for that bow, and that's the ones I shoot. Okay? So... yeah, so that's the ones I shoot. So I wouldn't tend to move them backwards and forwards, but I do like that. The moving up and down, I don't think it's a thing. It's, for me, I'd never use it. So for the Hoyt and the Win and Win, look, I'm never going to use that feature. I'm never going to use fats versus skinnies. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to try and shoot good scores with skinnies because I practice. And I just want to shoot good scores. So I'm not going to mess up my practice routine with fats and skinnies and all that sort of stuff. That's all too hard. Because I'm changing spine. Why would I want to do that? It's hard enough as it is. I like this limb bolts. Win and Win and Fivics should have marked limb bolts, just for the sake. On this system here, I'm going to say I prefer the Fivics because it's one piece stainless steel. Although Hoyt shooters might like the idea of changing the feel of the bow, but I'm like, you're just adding too much complexity. I don't see why you'd want to do it if you want to increase your poundage by new limbs. And sure, people are going to say, well, I don't want to spend new limbs, I'll just adjust this. But I like the fact this is round. I like the fact that I'm not going to mark my limbs. I have often got marks on my limbs. So I do like this. Now the tuning system to push-pull. This is a push-pull system. This is a push-pull system. So on the outside you've got a locking nut. You take the locking nut out, you push and pull. So you have two locking nuts either side, same as the Fivics. You push and pull. And I'm going to say it's going to be exactly the same on the Hoyt. Now the Hoyt system's a little bit different. You see the Hoyt? See how small the Hoyt is? And look how long the Win and Win is. So with the Win and Win, it's pushing there. I'm going to say with the Fivics, you've got a big bolt here, so it's moving over that bolt. I don't mind that. Now the limbs will clip in pretty much the same. So I'm going to say I probably prefer the Fivics clip-in system. Not by a big margin, I just like the way it's all stainless. That just looks nice and solid to me. Just looks like a nice solid system. So all in all, you're probably going to buy the bow you like the colour of. This is, I'm going to say, this is probably my biggest selling bow because of the twin colour. Although I sell lots of Skadis. I sell a heap of these. Why do I sell lots of these? I like Fivics. The limbs are cheaper on Fivics, which we'll do a video about comparing the limbs. a lot of the top shooters shoot, a lot of the top shooters in my state shoot Fivics. So I've got a few kids shooting Fivics. Casey shoots Fivics, and they shoot very well with them, like they're shooting good scores. I've got kids Ryan Tyak shooting Win and Win. I'm going to say James tried all the different bows. He preferred the Win and Win. A lot of them will buy it, one, because it's cheaper or it looks nicer, and I'm not going to have that argument. I think it does look nice. I think this looks nicer than that. I do. I think this looks nicer, but I like the clicker plate on this more than this. I think it will make more noise than this will make more noise than this. So I'm more than happy to shoot this. And for me, I've been shooting Fivics now for about 5 years. Now the Hoyt I don't make any money on. So these came in the other day, and the reason I brought them in is because no one had any in stock. Okay, so no one had any in stock, so I was like, well, I'll bring them in and to have a look, because I've got a big recurve range, like thousands of bows, thousands of limbs, literally. So I thought, well, I'll bring these in, and then I think some of my competitors had this in stock, but they may not. So anyway, that's why I brought it in. But the price that it's been sold for in Australia, I don't make any money on it. So I'm just stocking it so people buy this and other bits off me. But also I like customers having a choice. Although making no money seems dumb. But anyway, that's the Hoyt. Look, there are Hoyts being shot in Australia. Not many. And I'm not having a go or anything. The Hoyts that have been shot, there are guys on the Australian team shooting Hoyt. They are sponsored by Hoyt, so they're given Hoyts. I'm going to say Hoyt's not as popular. And one reason it's not as popular is you can buy that bow for $1,100. That bow's $1,360. This bow comes in what feels like 16 different colours. This bow you're struggling to find anywhere, and there's less colours. The limbs are more expensive, and we're going to do a video about the limbs, but I think it's just the touch and feel. I think most of the shops in Australia are compound shops. I'm basically a recurve shop, and when I say I do sell compounds, I sell a lot of compounds, but I would have 100 times more recurves than all the rest of the shops put together, and that's not an exaggeration. At least 100 times more recurves. At least. Maybe more. Like I said, they'd be struggling to be 2 of these in Australia, and we have 15, 20 of these in stock. I have heaps of these in stock. When I say heaps, maybe 20. And I have 2 of these in stock. Right, so it's just supply and demand. But anyway, that's my summary of the risers. So my view is that regardless of which riser you shoot, it's probably not going to affect your scores that much. It's all going to be pretty much the same. The grips are pretty much the same. But if you're looking at different risers, like let's say you're looking at a WNS Delta or a WNS Motive or a Toe Point X25, those grips are different, right? So your best bet is to feel the grip. And some people go, I don't want to drive an hour to get to your shop. That's fine, buy it online and just take what you get, right? But for me, I like touching and feeling, and touchy-feely person. So yeah, I would like to shoot this just because I like the colours, but I like the functionality of this one better. So I'll leave it there. That's the top of the Recurve Risers on the market. Your views, put a comment below, let other people know what you think, which one's the best, if you've tried different ones. And for lots of people, they never tried different risers. And you're like, I love Hoyt. That's all you've shot. there's no even argument now because you haven't tried the other ones. But for people who have tried these different risers, I think that's interesting. If you haven't tried different stuff, if you've only shot the one brand, if you've only ever shot Fivics, or you've only shot Win and Win, it's very hard for you to have an argument which one's better and why it's better. And if you shot the different risers and you've tried the different risers, you know, tell people what you felt, the things you liked about them. Like I'm still not shooting this riser. This is a Skadi. I'm still shooting the Argon because my shooting is average at best. Some days I shoot great and some days I shoot poor. And I'm just trying to fix that. When I tested the Skadi, I shot better on every occasion than I did with the Argon X. Since I did that test, I have shot higher scores with the Argon X than I shot with the Skadi. But it just gets back to me, and that's why I haven't changed. Because I'm like, it just gets back to me. And I've got 3 Argon X's, so that's why I haven't changed the Skadi yet. But I am thinking about it because it is in the back of my head. I did shoot better scores with this. Anyway, I'll leave you with that. Thanks for watching. Bye.